Good evening, everybody. Going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Gerard, could you lead us in the invocation, please, sir?
Yes, I will. Please bow your heads. Lord, we ask you to come upon this group of citizens and grant us a clarity of mind to see your way through what we're going to decide tonight. We ask you to bless the citizens of the Diamond Head City, of our state, and of our country, and of the whole world. We ask you, Lord, to watch over, guide this, give us your wisdom, and help Nancy through her illness. And we ask you, Lord, to bless this community. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor DeBrio. Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Lisi.
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
Okay. Can I get a motion to confirm or adjust the agenda for tonight? Move. Thank you.
We have one addition.
I have one addition for tonight.
Yeah, 19A.
Okay, 19A. Okay, and do I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Cumberland, second by Lisa.
All in favor?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
No. Okay. All right.
Oh, yep. Sorry, we're going to have to do a roll call since Shane's on the
Okay.
off for
Roll call,
everything.
Shane, okay? All right.
Got it.
All right. Finley.
Yes.
Lisi.
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Okay. The next regular city council meeting will be held August 2nd, 2022 at 6 o'clock p.m. on council chambers at City Hall. Okay. We had a proclamation recognizing dog park steering committee tonight. That's going to be pushed to the next meeting. Some of the members were out of town. So if anybody was here for that, it's going to be at the next meeting. Okay. City manager's report. What you got for us, John?
All right. Yes, we first have, I have the 2-week schedule from Jason from Moran Hauling. They have, for this week, they're planning on pouring the base asphalt for Section 2, and that'll be Thursday and Friday, and finishing that up. They will then move to Section 3 of the project, which they have working on all of next week and pouring base on that at the end of the week, 28th, 29th. So once they get that finished, I don't have the week following, but projection would be the next week they would lay final asphalt down and then do cleanup on the entire project. But we'll have to wait and see. All that will depend on weather, unfortunately. But they have been working on all that, getting that done. They did, as you can imagine, they did finally pass their test for getting that water taken care of. They were there Sunday, tying in all the 4 tie-ins. All that came back clean Monday, Tuesday, and so the boil water notice was lifted today for the businesses that were affected by the outage of that, which were the banks and the other places right around there.
Let me see where you are.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can get Adam on. Are we getting Adam on the phone?
We can. As far as the rest of the things to look at, we took care of putting signs up. We asked Moran, Moran and Kenichi to change the way those road signs appeared as far as blockage. Hopefully that was taken care of. I've been by every day again looking at mud holes, and I've noticed they've done a much better job at trying to keep those maintained and taken care of. I've communicated that with Jason every day to discuss that. So they're working on that, and then we have our additional weeks, 2 weeks work. So I think we're in good shape now. They're moving along, and hopefully they can be finished here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So unfortunately, that's where we are. The other project that we had going on here in the city was the acquisition project of the $5 million for, with MEMA. We're gonna try to get, Alex on the phone to, oh, to give you a wrap up of that, but I can give you the details of what I know as of right now. We did have several, I think 31 houses or homeowners that actually came and filled out applications for the program as a whole. After that, they looked at each home and came up with their information on it and picked 15 houses that are the primary homes that we're going to put up on the grant. So if the grant's approved and the 15 homeowners choose, then they would be the ones picked. We also put in 6 alternates, so in case any of those 15 decide to pull out of the program, we would have 6 new alternates. So 21 total homeowners that we chose to put into this grant to move forward. Out of the $5 million, we put in for $4,999,320. Just about all of it. Missed it by $600. So it was as close as we could get. But that would include all the acquisition, all the legal work, the demo, everything else that goes along with that. You got anything?
On the phone, I have Adam Ferguson. He is the Senior Advisor for Disaster Recovery Program for Rostan, and he is going to explain property selection or site selections and how that was achieved. Adam, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, first, thank you, Mayor and Council and staff, for having me. I'm happy to explain what we've done here for the city and to take any questions that anybody may have. So specific to our acquisition application, when we're selecting properties for an application like this, there's really two main important factors other than general eligibility. One is going to be our allocation amount. And in this case, we know that to be about $5 million or $5 million. The second factor is what FEMA refers to as cost effectiveness. Cost effectiveness for the purpose of this program is assessed by a benefit cost analysis. And we do that at 2 levels. One, each property to be included within the overall application itself is analyzed on cost effectiveness, as well as the entire project, inclusive of all properties, must remain cost effective. So you have a little bit of wiggle room for what we'll call the lower performing properties to be carried or pulled by stronger performing properties. Going back to our property list, we received, again, I was not in direct charge of outreach, but I'm giving you numbers as they provided to me. We had about 30 properties that submitted full packages. So everything that we needed, all the forms we needed in order to submit them within the application. Of these 30, 21 were located in FEMA's special flood hazard area. And that's important more so for the BCA. Now, just to be clear, properties do not need to be within the special flood hazard area to be eligible. They can be eligible if they're not in the SFHA. But the impact of being located within FEMA's or in the special flood hazard area means there's likely estimated flood heights within either FEMA's flood insurance study, the FIS, or some other source of modeling that we can use. Because to generate a benefit cost analysis, a BCA, to document cost effectiveness for an individual project and all projects, would be either the estimated damages, which would come from the FEMA flood insurance study or similar, or documented past damages. Now, the issue becomes if a property is not located within FEMA's special flood hazard area, we don't have flood insurance study data for it, we have to rely on past damages. And if we don't have past damages, those properties are very, very difficult to make cost effective. So generally speaking, again, if we've got properties within the SFHA, we've got a pretty good path to demonstrating cost effectiveness. Now, to my knowledge, I was not provided past damage information for any of the properties. It was mostly location and some of the other cost estimates, things of that nature. Going back to our allocation. So assuming we have, we picked 21 properties at, we'll say an average of $350,000. That's roughly $7.35 million. That's obviously over our $5 million allocation. that being the case, we always submit extra because things happen. People drop out. People don't want to go through with it. People don't like their offer. So there's always a benefit to adding extra properties, understanding that that some may fall out, and there may be a possibility towards the end of the process to request more funding if it's left over within the disaster. Now, that being said, there's a limit to having these extra properties over our allocation amount, because each one has to be assessed, again, to be cost effective. To add, it really comes down to how much money we have in this case. Like, so by example, here we have $5 million allocation, and our margin, our benefit cost analysis, our real cost ratio rather, is pretty slim. So to include alternates that are already, we'll call them high performing, they're in the special flood hazard area, individually they have largely positive benefit cost ratios. Those make smart sense to include, because if we have to turn them on, if we have to make them active within the project, they're not going to require another project to carry them. Again, in this case, because the 9 that were not included in the application had very, very low performing BCAs, it's not even certain that had additional money come down, we had the extra benefits to carry those projects, again, in this instance. So based on the slim benefit cost ratio, and again, that's by no fault of the homeowners or the city or anything, that's just the nature of the data we were working with. It was my recommendation to staff to go with the properties in the special flood hazard area for now, and that would make the strongest application to get these reviewed and approved and ultimately acquired and demolished in the shortest amount of time. And I'm happy to take any questions from the council, the mayor, or from staff.
Any questions, Mother? Can you do that right?
No.
Adam, I don't think there are any questions. I think you summed it up for him.
I'll go here.
And Shane's good too. He's calling in also. Okay, if there aren't any questions. All right. Thank you, Adam.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all for having me. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
I had a question for John. Just before we move on from your report, can you clarify for everybody that the Moran hauling contract the city did not ask them to exclude weekends and holidays? There's some concern in the community that the city asked them not to work on holidays or weekends, or any time that I think wasn't during business hours. And
No, ma'am. The city didn't ask them to work or not work. When they started the contract, it was 75 days, and then the additional days have been added, and that's it.
Okay,
now, the engineer did ask them not to work certain days.
Okay, but the
but
city
that's between them.
To clarify, the city's contract did not tell
No.
them not to. Okay,
No, it was
just-
75 complete work days,
Okay.
beginning to end, working weekends as well.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Can I do a follow-up to that?
Mhm.
Isn't the city engineer placed in charge by the city to make determinations like the working the holidays or not? So isn't he actually like an agent for the city?
I don't believe, truthfully, our current contract has that kind of stipulation in there, but it was something that we did discuss to add that in as an addition to the contract, that he is over all contracts and is able to find out or know what's going on with each one of them, regardless of who the engineer on site is. So-
Could you tell us when the 50 days was supposed to start that they're asking for the extension, and when it's supposed to be ending, the 50 days? Do you have a date for us on that?
The contract started, the notice to proceed was for March 14th, and that was 75 days, weekends, holidays included. There were then 21 days added, bringing it up to a total of 96. So if you add 50 more days to that contract, I want to say it was August the 6th would be your last day. Because the contract ends if you don't bring the change order days, 2 weeks later, those 2 weeks don't get added in as just additional days. It continues on down from the first day, which would be March 14th.
So they basically asked us to be able to complete or substantial complete. Which one is it on August the 6th?
Substantial completion by,
Substantial completion.
if you agree to the additional 50 days, would be
Okay.
August the 6th.
All right.
And just for clarification, they've got to finish. The question on whether or not we grant them additional days has to do with whether or not the city would be entitled to liquidated damages or not. which is something that we'll be looking at and negotiating. But, I mean, they've got to finish. You know, there's still a question as to, obviously, and it's for y'all to decide, is whether to give them those days now or to table it and to continue to discuss it.
This past week, they've had a lot of people out there working. It's just been a great week, you know, to see them out there. I mean,
Right.
just looking out the windows and seeing them out there, it's just been, yes, we have people working out there, 10, 11 people at a time sometimes. But anyway, it's just exciting to see things happening out there finally, it seems, you know. But anyway, okay, any more questions for the city manager?
Nope.
Okay, move on to public comments on the agenda items.
Amy Edward, is this new construction, is that an agenda item or non-agenda item?
Probably non-agenda, I would think.
Amy?
For-
Is this a non-agenda item, or is
I think
it something
non-agenda.
else?
Yeah.
Non-agenda?
Okay, all right. I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Appreciate that. Love to see people out there. Okay, let's see. All right, motion to approve the July 5th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Motion to approve the July 12th, 2022.
You're running the gun, Chuck, you're gonna
Hey,
move fast on us
These
here.
people want to
Now,
get out of here.
Let Jeannie will do a
Oh.
roll, we gotta do a roll call
A
on
roll
each
call,
of
that's
these
right, I
tonight.
forgot you.
We'll
Sorry,
we'll
Shane.
remind you each time.
Okay.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes. Okay. Motion to approve the July 12th, 2022 recess meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by
Second.
Cumberland, second by Mayor. Roll call.
You're the man.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
And Mar?
Yes.
Okay. All right. 2022-231, motion to accept and award the low bid received from Moran Hauling Incorporated in the amount of $171,479.06 for the Hilo Way Drainage Improvement Project. Authorize city manager to execute the contract for same and issue the notice to proceed as appropriate.
I would,
This matter is on the table. Are there any discussions to my left?
I would just like to make a motion to put it on the table and table this till
Okay.
another meeting.
It's on, so keep it
All right.
on.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, no action. Do we need a roll call on that? All right.
So
Judge?
we're just not taking it off the table, so it'll
Okay.
be on the agenda for next
Yeah,
meeting as
next
well.
meeting too. Okay.
And from talking with the city clerk, we still do have time, the bids are still good, until the next meeting.
Okay, good.
I think it's good that we keep it on the table and see how they progress with the project they already have in hand.
Understood.
Okay. All right, resolutions. 4 is 2022-251. Motion to adopt resolution 2022-047, thereby acquiring by donation Lot 50, Block 9, Unit 4, Phase 1, from Catherine Kanfoski with estimated value of $6,750.
So moved.
Moved by Cumberland,
Second.
by Mark. Roll call.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Okay. Motion 2022-253. Motion to adopt resolution 2022-048, thereby abandoning a 5-foot drainage utility easement on each side of the common property line between Lot 1, Bowview subdivision, Phase 1, and Lot A, the preserve subdivision, Phase 1. The parcel number is 067K-2-36-216.001. The physical address is 87120 High Point Drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call?
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Okay. All right. 2022-254, motion to adopt resolution 2022-049, thereby abandoning a 10-foot utility easement on the rear of the property of Lot 1, Bowview subdivision, Phase 1, and accepting the dedication of a 10-foot utility easement on the property of Lot 1, Bowview subdivision, Phase 1, and Lot A to preserve subdivision Phase 1. The physical address is 87120 High Point Drive, parcel number 067K-2-36-216.001. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Lisa. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cumberland. Roll call.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Okay. All right. 2022-258, motion to adopt resolution 2022-050, finding and determining that the resolution declaring intent of the Diamond Head City Council to either issue general obligation bonds of the city, issue a general obligation bond of the city for sale, the Mississippi Development Bank, or enter into a loan with the Mississippi Development Bank, all in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $6 million, and adopted on June 7th, 2022. Was published as required by law, that no petitions or other objections of any kind or character against the issuance of general obligation bonds of the city or the issuance of a qualified obligation bond of the city for purchase by the Mississippi Development Bank or the city to borrow funds by entering into a loan with the Mississippi Development Bank. All described in said resolution was filled in authorizing said bonds and loan to be issued or entered into as the case may be. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Any
Troy
discussion?
Johnson with Butler Snow is here, and he's gonna talk to y'all a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to run this, let you know a little bit where we are in the process. So, of course, you just read all of it. This is for the bonds that y'all are issuing for your paving project that's going to be paid with the internet sales tax that you get annually. So you heard it in the resolution. There have been no petition. There has been no petition filed. And you're authorized to move forward now without an election on the bond issue anytime within 10 years, or 2 years to issue bonds. Sorry, I won't be practicing law hopefully in 10 years, I don't know. Unlikely. Regardless, you're authorized to issue bonds now without an election anytime within 2 years, okay? Assuming you approve this tonight, where we are in the process is the financial advisor and the underwriter, they're working out the finances and everything, and when they get the structure together, what this is going to look like, I'm going to do the bond documents, and I'll be back down here next meeting likely, or in August, and we'll approve the documents and move forward from there. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. But otherwise, that's what we're doing tonight.
I think you did a great job the last time you spoke to us.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But not this time?
Just last time.
I'll just record what I did.
Any questions?
No.
I appreciate it. We're excited about this too.
Okay, thanks.
Sure are.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
All right, 2022-260, motion to adopt resolution 2022-051, authorizing application to Mississippi Development Authority for FY22 Gulf Coast Restoration Fund project funding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. By Gerard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Lisa. Roll call.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Okay. Moving along to the consent agenda. All right. Are there any items to be held here? Motion to approve and second on motion number 9 through 14. Do I have a motion to move?
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Meyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. Roll call. Is that a roll call?
Okay, wait, just,
Yeah,
wait,
because
just a
he's
minute.
on the phone.
Okay.
Did you say 9 through 14 or 9 through 19?
9 through 14.
Okay, just double checking. Okay, thank you.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Okay. All right, now to the action agenda. Let's see, okay. All right, so 2022-246, motion to approve change order number 3 to East Aloha Improvements, Phase 1, adding 50 calendar days for project completion at with no charge in a project cost. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Or a motion to
Motion
table.
to table.
Yeah, I think we keep it on the table, make a motion to table.
Okay, cool.
So John's making a motion to table.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
it?
I'll second.
Okay,
Who seconded? Who wants it?
everybody wants it.
Lisi,
Throw a name in there.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Okay. Motion 2022-255, motion to authorize the planning commission to publish and hold a public hearing for the purpose of creating zoning districts and use regulations for medical cannabis facilities.
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
One second, okay. Seconded by Elise. Okay,
Ready?
roll call.
No,
We're gonna-
Finley.
What are we gonna discuss?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you want to discuss?
John, did you have?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. So, I mean, we need to do this, right? So, right, Derek, to create some,
yeah, this
Rules,
is
yeah.
starting the process. Whenever we have planning zone and
Mhm.
zoning, consider new regulations, subdivision regulations, and, things of that nature, zoning regs. We have a public hearing, we get some public input. We'll come up with some regulations that we can put in place for y'all as we anticipate we're gonna start getting some applications from folks to establish these businesses, in the commercial district. So we just wanna be ahead of the curve
right,
and come up with some regs.
thank you.
Good.
Ready? Finley,
No.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Okay. 2022-256, motion to accept the form of the FY '23 budget, department level, set the public hearing for August 23rd, 2022, and approve the advertisement providing public notice of same. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Cumberland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Marr. We doing all in favor? No, we gotta do a roll call. All right, let's do a roll call.
Any discussion?
Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right?
Okay.
Nope.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Okay, 2022-259, motion to authorize the planning commission to hold a public hearings to consider a text amendment to the zoning ordinance and/or subdivision regulations to require a specified number of home designs.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Marr. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lees. Any discussion to my left?
I think it's a great motion.
Great motion. Any comments to my right? Go
I
ahead.
agree with Gerard. We need to address that.
Okay.
And council, I spoke with several of y'all, and I spoke with our building official recently. We've kind of done a deep dive into the ordinances. I think we've got some things, some tools that Mr. Jones can use right now, architectural-wise, with respect to, some of these things that we're concerned about. But this is an opportunity for us, and to have again, Planning and Zoning Commission get some public input, maybe from builders, residents, realtors, to see if there's any language that we can include that we would, need to beef it up. But we're on it. Mr. Jones is already looking at this issue, and we have some things already in place that we can use.
All right, ready? Roll call.
Yes.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
2020-261. Motion to adopt the final plat, Diamond Head Lakes Phase 1, subject to the identification of drainage and utility easements on the rear lots adjacent on the golf course. 2, the identification of 5-foot drainage and utility easements along all sides of lot lines. Submission of letter from Kara Wagner of Pickering Firm, engineer of record, regarding construction of subdivision in accordance with approved plans. Submission of letter from Ben Benuti, city engineer, regarding construction of subdivision in accordance with approved plans. Approval of final inspection of the improvements of the subdivision. Submission of appropriate maintenance bond or surety. The construction of ditches along the street frontage for selected lots. The installation of a cross culvert to carry water surface runoff to the detention pond. The ditches and cross culvert shall be installed in accordance with plans to be inspected and approved by the city engineer. All conditions must be completed at the satisfaction of the city before any building permits shall be issued.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until more has been done.
I will second that, and before we move on, I want to discuss,
Any discussion to my
please.
left?
No.
I know we got discussion to my right.
Yes, you do. So, some of us have gotten phone calls from realtors and concerned members of the community that a developer, specifically Elliott Homes, is considering making, well, I don't know if I guess it's a change from what they originally asked for approval for. They've got 40 remaining lots, is that correct? And they're planning to use 1 or 2 floor plans for this remaining, and obviously there's some justified public outcry. So I just wanted to say to all the people here, we hear you, we're aware it's not okay with us either, and we are going to use everything in our current ordinances to, make sure that doesn't happen, and then see what we can do to, tighten things up. And it's, it's not okay when people come in and ask for one thing and then do another, and we hear you. So I just wanted to say that, and thank so many of you for coming tonight, and we're addressing it, so.
Is that it? No Ron or anything? Okay. All right.
Roll call.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Okay.
It was to table.
Right.
Yeah, it was a motion to
Table,
table.
yes.
All right, 19A.
Okay, 19A, this is an addition to the agenda. 2022-262, motion to authorize the Planning Commission to conduct a public hearing to consider a text map amendment on the map of minimum square footage requirements for a selected area within the inner circle of Diamond Head Drive. That's east, west, and north. I believe, Mr. Ron, could you come up to the front and kind of give us a little heads up on that?
Can we get a motion and a second?
Move.
Oh,
I make that motion.
make the motion. I got a second.
Second.
Second, all right. Mr. Ron, please come forward, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All righty. What we have here is back on October the 15th, 2012, the city council at that time adopted the zoning ordinance. And within that zoning ordinance, there's a map that identifies selected areas of the city and requires a minimum square footage of heating and cooled area. And so that was done. However, in the center of Diamond Head, in the inner circle, I call it, there was just open vacant land that was not allocated any type of minimum housing requirement. And so, well, like for example, the preserve, phase 1, that doesn't have any minimum standards. The Diamond Head Lakes, with Deer Crossing, and then Diamond Head Lakes phase 1, and the other phases that they're proposing, that area at all doesn't have any minimum square footage. And so within Inner Circle, there's areas that, like Turnberry Drive, that area, Glen Eagle, had adjacent to the golf course, they have like 2,000, 1,800 square foot. Okay, but then around the Inner Circle, it goes from 1,400 to 1,000, 640 for the condos at High Point. And so this text and map amendment we will engage where that any vacant raw land that doesn't have any minimum heating and cooled area, we're going to establish that. And of course, we'd like input from the council, but as well as from the public as to what those areas may be. And so this will further enhance at least the minimum housing, heating and cooled area within the area, which can determine size and even pricing of housing. And so anyway, I think it is very important that that this be done. Now, as to why it wasn't done in 2012, I had no idea. I just know it wasn't done. And so this is what we're trying to do. Sir?
So maybe they couldn't see the development at that time.
Well,
That's
that's
happened in
true.
10 years, yeah.
That's true. And based upon what I know, the raw vacant land within the Inner Circle that I'm talking about has already been purchased,
And some of it's under development right now.
under proposed development.
Mhm.
And so as time goes on, all of that will be developed, if you can look into the crystal ball. And so they're developers who have purchased all that land, and over time it will be developed.
And while we have you up here, will you just clarify for everybody here and the people watching at home that we do have regulations about architectural continuity, and can you address that just for a minute?
Oh, sure, glad to.
Thank you. Thank
Sure.
you.
That in our zoning ordinance, there's a section to deal with architectural standards, and that, in essence, you have to be compatible with the surrounding area. And it first says you go a 500-foot radius to establish the type of housing that's already there to see what's proposed is compatible with what is already there. And however, if you go beyond that and not have anything, then it says that you can select 10 houses in the area and from that determine the compatibility standards. Now, in the zoning ordinance, it lists a myriad number of things like exterior finishes, slope of the roof, exterior finishes, the orientation of the house. And so if you look at that in a microcosm, it doesn't lend itself to tract housing.
Or all the garage doors facing the front. So you said 10 houses in a row, right?
Yes,
Okay.
And so the point I'm making is that we have those standards already on the books, that where you have a number of homes that look very similar or even the same, where it can be regulated at the administrative level. It can be.
Okay. In a subdivision, say I got the 40 homes out there, is it almost impossible to expect the builder to come in and build 40 different houses? He'd have to have 40 different house plans for it. How many are we trying to get in a 40 subdivision? What are we looking like?
Well, as it relates to that, builders have typical floor plans that they have, and they can either have that or even flip the house. But mainly, even if there's a very similar floor plan, the facade and the way it looks can be done where you think like, well, that's a different house. But in reality, in terms of the floor plan itself, can be very, very similar. And so they shrink bedrooms, they enlarge bedrooms, make more bathrooms, you know. And so you can have a different floor plan, but then they can also change, golly, just change the slope of the roof can make a difference. Or even having porches and garage in terms of openings and stuff. And so large companies, they do have if you want to say, an arsenal of floor plans or house plans that says, okay, these set of plans fit into the $150,000 range. Then they have another in their pool that can be up to $175,000 or $200,000, and so it can be. Let's see. They have the ability to do things that doesn't make look that you have sameness.
So we realize 40 can be, on the insides can be all different. On the outside, it's, we want to make sure we have a little mixture of different houses looking on the outside.
Yes.
That's most important.
Yes.
And
we
so-
want in those areas.
Right, and so with this addition, we're going to regulate size, from here on out. right?
Correct.
And lot size affects, all of these. So, right, so in some of these smaller lots,
Yes, like R2 zoning district, the minimum square footage for a lot is 6,000. R1 is 10,000. And so, yes, you can have the smaller lots, but typically, they don't usually have a 6,000 square foot. They want a larger lot, maybe 8 to 10,000, that helps in the price, and then have the highest, have the house that fits better on the lot there. And so, but at least we have the minimum size, lot size. We also have a minimum heating and cooled area. But then, last but not least, in terms of subdivision development, there's another factor, is that in the zoning ordinance, you can only have 7 dwelling units per acre. That's the max you can have. And so that further regulates density, in terms of compacting a lot in a small area. So we do have that to help diversity.
Any questions to my left?
I'm good.
Any questions to my right?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So, Ron, back to this motion that we're approving.
Yes, sir.
This isn't anything new. Diamond did this before 2012, didn't it? In a lot of the streets, like Mauna Loa and Hamakua Circle, Fairway Drive, don't they have square footage regulations to where houses were? I seem to remember Fairway Drive being like 2,000 square feet. It's not a lot, but it was there, wasn't it?
I believe you're right. Well, but before we became a city, the covenants has minimum square footage too, and like, I believe that the city at the time tried to mirror what the POA had as relates to those uses.
But this is going to help with these new developments that
Yes.
were just, big plots of land before. Now they're
That's
becoming
right.
neighborhoods.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're going to kind of
Oh, oh.
emulate that.
All right, and so let me say this, that if when going through this process of minimum square footage for the house, okay, it'll take about 90 days to finally get through the process, because after it's approved by the council, then you have 30 days for it to be enacted, unless it's a public safety kind of issue, which I don't think it would be. And so what I'm trying to say is that if you think specifically in terms of Diamond Head Phase 1, that it's possible that building permits could be already applied for and issued, and so those would not be under that. They would be grandfathered in because the rules are not there. But then after it becomes enacted, then it would take effect. You know.
But if I'm hearing you correctly, in the meantime, the good news is that we do have these other architectural standards that will hopefully prevent
Yes.
the building of what is essentially a group of tract homes.
And my office will be acutely aware of that and keenly when we look at those plans.
That is good to hear.
You due diligence. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Any more discussions? Okay. A motion on the table. Approval? Okay.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Marr?
Yes.
Hey Chuck, excuse me just a second. If you'll ask John to open this back door, I'd like to join the party.
Well, hold on. Let's take a vote. All right. Man, it's
Can-
2-2. I'm kind of the deciding factor, man.
Can the public vote?
In a public vote. Ooh. You don't have a lot of fans out here, Shane. He wants to come in. He's over here. He wants to come join the meeting. He's been out of town.
Hey, there he is.
All right, we're going to do it all over again, Shane, just for you, man.
Yep, start again from the top.
I can do it faster this
You can
time.
disconnect yourself.
I didn't want to interrupt Ron's presentation.
All right, claims, do I have to say Shane entered the room at 6:50? Okay, you made it. Thank you. Always on top of things. Okay, motion to approve the docket of claims DKT 159812-159851 DKT in the amount of $148,446.40. Have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We can do that now because.
I wanted to move it along for you, Chuck.
Very lazy. Okay, anybody want to accept the department reports? Do I have a motion? I'll move. Can I do that? All right, I'll do that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Penny. All approve?
Aye.
Aye. All oppose? Okay. All right. Do we have any public comments on the non-agenda items? Probably so.
Before we do that, I forgot to ask something of Ron Jones. While you're here, because it's not on the agenda, can you just give a quick update as to what's going on with the Ramada Inn? Sure. Thank you. Sorry to make you come right back up.
All right, that's okay.
Thank you.
All right, the status of the Ramada Inn is that it is still closed, and that there's a lot of issues that need to be dealt with. One of them is the fire alarm, and that they were given 30 days to have their fire alarm code compliant. They failed to do that. And so they have lost their certificate of occupancy because of that, which opens up more doors for compliance. I don't want to get into specifics
No, that's okay.
about all the different violations, but the city is in a position to demand more, which we're in a good position, and that my office is in the process of putting together legal notification of violation infractions to give to the owner, to demand certain violations to be corrected within X amount of time. And then if that is not done, then the city has options to demand compliance.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Do you have a date on when your next inspection will be over there? Y'all got any that far yet?
No, sir. There's still some details working about the fire alarm for them to be compliant. They've been working with the fire department as well on some technical issues. And so the fire alarm contractor has not called back and says, we're ready for another one. But before I finish the letter, I do want to go back out there and visit it again.
Okay. Have we extended a deadline for them?
No,
No, okay.
no.
But they remain closed until they're in compliance with the orders of the fire department and the building officials. So they will remain closed until they are compliant. So.
Okay. Any questions to that?
Wait, let me ask one thing, okay?
Yeah. One more? All right.
Thank you.
I've advised Ron to speak no further.
Have a seat, Ron. Have a seat. Okay,
I was
Miss Amy.
about to get up and tackle him, but I didn't have to.
Ms. Amy Eglock? Just state your name and your address when you get up here, please, ma'am, and thank you for coming.
I'm Amy Egoff, and I live at 9949 Hamakua Street here in Diamond Head. Forgive me, my printer kicked out, so this old lady's going to have to read from a very small screen. So please bear with me as I do that. So the house that I closed on in December is an Elliott cottage. I want to make it very plain as I come in front of you that I love my home. The construction, I believe, has been excellent. The amenities within the house are top-notch, in my opinion. Any post-construction issues that I've had with the interior or the exterior of the home have been met swiftly and successfully by Elliott. I wish I could say the same about my lot. So, all of my challenges that I've had since moving in have been related to the condition of the lot that the house sits on. And I'm coming before you this evening to respectfully ask you all to consider the possibility that issuing my home's certificate of occupancy back in December so I could close may have been premature. In my opinion, the lot of my home was not appropriately prepared for grading. The grading that was done poorly. And the sod that was laid was and is unstable. All of these issues have been addressed since February with Elliott Homes. I've had 3 personal visits from them and more than 45 emails and texts. I had suggested at one point that I would bring my own landscaper in to try to correct some of the problems that I have. I was told at that time that if I did that, because the work wasn't done by Elliott or its subcontractors, my home warranties would be nullified. So I was kind of stuck. The good news is that just today, I received word from Elliott that a vice president and the warranty manager will be at my home on Friday, hopefully to resolve some of the issues. My fingers are crossed about that. I'm going to go through a very quick overview of the kind of problems that I've had. The Hamakua Street ditch that existed prior to construction did not drain appropriately for a multitude of reasons. One included an exposed sewer pipe, a C-spire utility box that is actually trying to fall into the ditch, but which has been secure with rebar. The really good news, and one of the reasons that I'm here to thank you, is that because of Annalise's attention to my concerns, she was able to get Public Works to come out in the last 2 weeks, and they've addressed most of those issues. Yay. I no longer have standing water. I no longer am looking at a sewer pipe. So thank you, Anna, and the city for that. The ditch that was constructed in the rear of my property during construction does not appropriately drain. It also goes from my yard into my neighbor's yard and then into Kaloa Street. Because it doesn't drain well, I have pockets of standing water almost at all time. I'm mowing the ditch, and in doing so, I tripped over a piece of partially buried rebar in the back of my property. The city has records, and that rebar did not exist prior to construction of the home. The rebar cannot be pulled out by hand. Obviously, it's a danger issue. The yard on the east side of my house has a large pool of standing water every time it rains, which threatens my AC compressor and the foundation of my home. 2 areas of the embankment that are on the house side of the front ditch are collapsing into the ditch and leaving large gaping holes in my yard. The east side of my house was graded so poorly that mowing is extremely dangerous and nearly impossible. My next door neighbor, Patty Reed, lives at 9951 Hamakua. She has given me her permission to let you all know that she's had to spend significant money having French drains put in her backyard because of my house and a second Elliott house that's on the other side of her property. So, Diamond Head is beautiful. I'm really glad to be here, relocated from northwest suburban Chicago. This place is a little slice of heaven. Wise and thoughtful development is necessary to maintain a community's economic health. So, my intent tonight is to shed some personal light on some challenges, and I'm hoping that you all will review existing policies, maybe implement some new ones that will not only serve the needs of the residents, but also the positive growth of Diamond Head moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. All right. Mr. Pellegrin.
My name is Darrell Pellegrin. I live at 8912 Hanley Place, Diamond Head. I just want to thank the city manager, right, and publicly, for coming out there as soon as he knew there was a problem. That's the first time somebody's come out to my house and give me a bunch of bull what's going on. The problem exists since before they built the house, when they started building it. And I want to talk to you about drainage. I got the same issue now that we had before. The drainage, the drainage, the drainage. The elevation of the house. But hopefully, Mr. Benvenuti says he's going to have a report for the next meeting. City council, all right. So hopefully we can get something done now. It's only taken 1.5 years and 3 engineering surveys to get out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Council, do we have any reason for executive session?
We do.
We do. Okay. Well, need a motion to enter closed session to determine the need for executive session.
Move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll be right back. If y'all leave before we come back, thank y'all for coming.